As we keep rolling in this NFL season, I feel like we just said, welcome to week 1, guys, but we're in week 12 now. The playoff picture is starting to take form. We're starting to kind of realize what teams have already solidified their place in the playoffs, what teams are battling for home field advantage, and what teams are still looking for a wild card.
Wait, week 12, that means the Falcons have clinched the NFC South already, right?
No, but they have clinched a top 10 draft spot.
True story. I mean, considering that they're pretty close to tanking for Jadeveon Clowney at this point.
I wouldn't suggest that.
Let's talk about Atlanta first off. Atlanta is facing off against New Orleans in the Thursday night game. This game is going to be incredibly brutal for any Atlanta fans.
Agreed. This is a horrible matchup for Atlanta, who's coming off just a thumping by the Buccaneers down in Tampa.
Fourth straight.
For the sound of Bobby Rainey's, 3 touchdowns, I believe?
Fourth straight beatdown.
Yeah, I mean, just there is no way Atlanta wins this game. You know who I think there's not going to be a key to the game because the Saints are going to walk away with it easily. But you know who I think is going to be the biggest cog in the Saints beatdown this week? Mark Ingram. He has been running really well and really hard the past 3 weeks, and I think he gets it going against an Atlanta defense that's given up a ton of yards and touchdowns on the ground this year.
I think if you're Sean Weatherspoon on the Atlanta defensive side, I want to see how well your injury is actually going to act up. And let's put you on Jimmy Graham and see how much you can run. Let's see what you can do with it.
Instead of a spoon, you should call him like one of those ladles with holes in them that you scoop the beef stew out.
We both agree Atlanta's going to lose this game. It's a foregone conclusion. Sunday at 1, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. It's a division game. This game's going to be really interesting for Cleveland. I think Cleveland wins just because they're at home. Pittsburgh just continues to find ways to just crap on themselves, essentially.
And still win, though.
Yeah, it's just been really, really a struggling year for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cleveland actually has the better of the two teams at this point in the season.
I think Cleveland has more talent on their team as a whole, but with Ben Roethlisberger, I have so much faith in that guy. With Ben Roethlisberger and Jericho Cotchery and Antonio Brown now, is come out and shown a lot of.
Thanks for those 2 touchdowns this week.
A lot of stuff. I think Pittsburgh takes us on the road. I think Cleveland's one of those teams that shows sparks at times this year. But I'm a big believer in what Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin do up there in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Pittsburgh on the road on this one.
No, I'm going to agree with you. I think Pittsburgh does win on the road. I think Cleveland puts up a really good fight, but I think what's going to happen is Pittsburgh's offense is going to be better than Cleveland's offense.
I think this is going to come down to like a lot of the games in the NFL are coming down to these days. Who has the ball the last possession? I think it's a 31-28 type game.
Don't look now. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have 2 wins. 2 wins, guys, and they're going up against a former division winner. Are they still a division leader at this point?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, but they're going up against a division leader, and I really don't think it's going to matter. Tampa Bay is playing really good football right now. They've started to realize, okay, we've got a consistent quarterback that is actually not throwing the ball away too much. We've got a running back now with Rainey going over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Vincent Jackson had a few good snags. in that game.
But on the other side of the ball, Detroit, some of the blunders that Schwartz made last Sunday make me wonder whether or not Detroit's going to continue to play well.
I think Schwartz, it's 4th and 3. I think on your own 7-yard line, you don't kick the field goal to go up by 10 points. I don't know what you're thinking right there. That's not smart football. You have the lead. I think there's 4 minutes left in the game. That's just not smart football. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay on the road on this one.
I'm going to take Detroit. I think Tampa Bay's win streak ends.
2-game win streak.
Yeah, 2-game.
What does that feel like?
Yeah, it's not. I haven't felt that this year. Of course, neither has Dallas.
Yeah, we have.
Oh,
we have had a 2-game win streak.
Excuse me. Yeah, maybe 2-game win streak.
Hey, enjoy your first round of draft. First
we probably will.
You'll probably trade it away for somebody that's not any good. We're going to trade our first draft pick for a 7th round, 13th draft pick.
I'm taking Detroit at home. Minnesota at Green Bay. I think Scott Tolzien is actually starting again for Green Bay.
How crappy is this game going to be?
Minnesota, on the other hand, I think Minnesota actually has a better shot to win this game than Green Bay does.
I do as well. with Tolzan at the helms. I don't know why they wouldn't bring in Flynn personally. He knows the system decently, I would assume.
Well, he's in. He's just kind of as a backup.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't know why you wouldn't bring.
Why
him
are
as a
you going to
starter.
spend money on a quarterback and just sit him on the bench?
Well, ask the
I mean, bring
Seattle Seahawks
Tebow in and just sit him on the bench
Why
if you're
would
going to do
why
that.
would you want to bring that circus into Green Bay?
Well, you're not doing anything else with it. If you're doing the same kind of money, you might as well bring publicity. Any publicity is good publicity. You should know that.
Not that publicity.
Minnesota on the road. I'm going to take them.
Westboro Baptist Church up there. I'm going to take. I'm going to take Green Bay at home. I think Eddie Lacy goes off and has a big game. Has over $150, a few touchdowns. I think it's going to be the battle of two running backs, Lacy versus AP. I think it's going to be a terrifically fought rushing game.
I think what's going to happen for Minnesota on Minnesota's end is I think they need to figure out. Number one, they need to figure out who their quarterback is because right now they just keep flipping and flopping on whoever's sucking the worst at this point.
Yeah.
They need to get back to running the ball. Let Adrian Peterson run the ball, do what he does best, and I think things will start developing from there. The play action passes will start developing, and even a crappy quarterback like Alex Smith can actually play action passes. Speaking of that, Alex Smith, San Diego at Kansas City. Kansas City gets their first loss of the season.
They do indeed.
And
to
it
the
was
Denver Broncos.
And it was a legit loss.
From what I said last week, if they can get the Peyton Manning, I picked the Kansas City Chiefs. If they could get the Peyton Manning and knock them hard, first few plays of the game, it would have been over. They didn't sniff Peyton Manning last week. Manning sat there. He could have sat in a lazy boy and tossed touchdowns all day. I mean, he was perfectly protected. And I tell you the thing that it was the second game that I watched Kansas City play. And I've realized two things about Kansas City in the two games that I've watched them. A, they do not wrap up. They're a hard-hitting, big-hitting type team. They do not wrap up. They do not
no doubt. They're
arms.
One of the most physical teams in the league.
They don't wrap up. They don't use their arms. That's going to come back and bite you when you play talented players. And their safeties always play too shallow. Their safeties are never deep enough. So that long pass is there if your offensive line can protect long enough against a defensive line that has been terrific so far this year.
The problem with that for San Diego is San Diego doesn't have too many deep down the field threats.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a few threats that will sit there and get the little 10, 15-yard punches and make somebody miss.
No.
But Kansas City, like we said, they hit hard enough to where you're not going to get up again. So I'm going to take Kansas City at home. I think they get back on the winning road.
I'm taking San Diego on the road in this one.
Really?
I don't have any faith in Kansas City as a football team in a whole. I think San Diego spells Ryan Matthews, and I think that's going to bring the safeties up even more. And I mean, it's only going to take 3 or 4 times for that offensive line to have a few good blocks. And Phillip Rivers is having a phenomenal year. It's quiet. It's a very quiet, phenomenal year. I think he finds Vincent Brown for 2 touchdowns this week, and they take Kansas City on the road.
Taking Kansas City at home. Chicago at St. Louis. Chicago continues to play really good defense. Their offense continues to sputter at times. It's like in between the second and third quarters, it's like Chicago's defense just goes away for a while.
And you can take last week's game and throw it out because you're never going to have a game where you have almost a 2-hour delay in the first quarter because of inclement weather. And when they came out, that field looked like you were playing in a pool almost. I mean, it was awful. So a lot of the stuff you saw last week with the offense and how good the defense was, you can take that and kind of throw it out because you're never going to have a game like that again.
Cutler has not been named, or he has been ruled out for this Sunday.
I wouldn't start him. But McCown's doing not a very bad job as your field general. And
is it really going to matter against St. Louis?
I don't think so, no. St. Louis.
I think Stacy actually gets close to 100 yards, probably 85, 90 yards rushing. But I think Chicago's defense continues to play well, and I'm going to take Chicago on the road in this one.
I agree with you on that one.
Carolina and Miami. Carolina riding a 6-game winning streak.
This is a lot more interesting than I think if you just looked at this game, you say, oh, Carolina, they're on a 6-game winning streak. Miami has a lot of turmoil. This is going to be this is one of my most interesting games of the week. I cannot wait to watch this game.
I really believe that Carolina is going to go in there and take care of business early.
I think
Miami's not going to be able to hold his shot.
I think Miami's going to come away with a win.
No way.
I think Carolina coming off that big Monday night win against New England on a last-second penalty, very controversial. Carolina played phenomenal. Cam Newton had one of the best games that I've seen him have in a long, long time, since he was at Auburn probably. But I think there's going to be a letdown. I think Miami takes this one home.
I completely 100% disagree with you. I'm taking Carolina on the road. New York Jets at Baltimore. This game is actually just mediocre teams.
Yeah.
Let's just see where we're going to finish in the pack.
No.
Because it's not going to be anywhere near the playoffs at this point.
I agree.
And it's like
Geno Smith could not have looked worse last week against the Buffalo Bills.
no, he's living up to the Jets quarterbacks.
That's a very good analogy. He's now truly a Jets quarterback because he sucks.
I mean, you have the flash in the pan of brilliance that you have early on in your career,
Mark
Sanchez, and then you turn out to be complete and total garbage.
Mark Sanchez.
Good job.
At least he doesn't have a butt fumble yet.
True story.
That is
but
positive.
The key word is
Yeah.
I'm going to take Baltimore on the road just simply because they have a more stable, Baltimore at home.
Yeah.
Because they have a more stable quarterback. I think their defense will actually hold up against Geno Smith because there's not much.
I agree. I'm going to take Baltimore at home on this one as well.
Jacksonville at Houston, and Jacksonville's got to get their second win sometime, right?
It won't be this week.
Really?
Yep.
I agree with you. Houston wins this game because I think first of all, number one, Case Keenum is playing halfway decent.
Yeah.
Halfway.
There's a lot of turmoil in that Houston dressing room, and obviously you saw from Andre Johnson's actions this week that Schaub is not the quarterback they want in there. They want Case Keenum in there. I think Case Keenum starts, and he's going to be your starter for the rest of the season. And that's what a team needs. A team that's struggling needs consistency.
Mm-hmm.
If Case Keenum comes in and is just not that good, as long as he's serviceable, you just need that consistency, that week in, week out. I know who's going to be throwing to me. I know what he thinks. He knows what I think. We can get on the same page. The week in and week out consistency is what makes NFL teams great, and I think they get that this week, and I think they start something with Case Keenum.
I don't think it's going to be what makes NFL teams great. I think it's what makes them be a little bit more consistent. What makes a team great is actually having good players, great players. Because if you throw Case Keenum's name out there as a player that could win a Super Bowl, probably not. But that's just my opinion. No.
Consistency, baby.
I know it's consistent. Houston wins this game at home. The 4:00 games, Tennessee at Oakland. This game, Tennessee's got to go across country.
Is Pryor coming back?
No, McGloin's starting.
McGloin. Yeah, that's what I said, McGloin.
And it's both of them are Big Ten quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken.
Where's McGloin from?
Penn State.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, he is.
Tennessee, on the other hand, is
Chris Johnson had a good week.
They've had like the most up and down season I think a team could have.
Yeah.
They go from being a contender in the South to just completely sucking it up.
Yeah.
And it's going to be what team shows up.
Yeah, on games like this, you got to take the home team. I mean, it's between two teams that are not very good, so the parity in this game is amazing. So I just go with the home team, and I think McGloin wins this game.
McGloin does win this game.
McGloin
Wins. Indianapolis against Arizona. Indianapolis is going to win this game. I think they looked at themselves after last Thursday and go, okay, maybe we need to start tightening the ship a little bit.
Ready for a surprise?
I'm ready.
I'm taking Arizona at home.
Really?
Yep. I have a lot of faith in Arizona's defense, who is just terrific. I like Andrew Luck a lot, but he's going on the road without his safety blanket that he's had for the past 2 years, and Reggie Wayne, I think that defense gets to him. I think that defense shakes him up, and I don't think they come away with a win. I think Arizona gets this.
T.Y. Hilton gets at least a touchdown and maybe 90-something plus yards.
I would agree.
So I think Indianapolis wins this on the road. Dallas at New York Giants. This game is going to be a huge game.
We already know.
Do we? Don't look now, guys. New York's haven't lost in about a month.
Don't look now, guys. Dallas is only one game out of the lead, so what do you got to think about that?
And how far is New York?
Heck.
With a win, New York could probably go within a game of the league, correct? With a loss, Dallas would go to 2 from the league.
Are we talking about hypotheticals here?
So, well, this is all the show is hypotheticals.
No. all my stuff is fact.
Fact, right.
Facts.
And that's why you picked Kansas City to win last week.
I heard you weren't going to mention that. I'm through.
I'm going to take Dallas on the road. I think Dallas has a better team overall. New York Giants are playing hot. I think it's going to be a really, really
This
close
is going to be
game.
a high-scoring game.
But Dallas, I think, ends up winning this game by by a field goal.
It's hard for me to take my fan hat off on this one. I got to go with Dallas. I mean, we have to win. Please win. How did we lose the lead? No.
Don't get started.
Dallas wins. It's a high-scoring game. I think it's a 42-38 type game. Both defenses are just atrocious. And that offense for the Giants is getting going. So I think it's a 42-38 type game.
Our buys for the week are Buffalo, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, the first place Philadelphia Eagles now, and Seattle. Let's talk about the Sunday night game, Denver at New England.
This is not a big matchup.
This game, everyone is circling it and going, "Oh, it's Brady versus Manning." Great. And it's like, no.
They're
not
almost
really.
treating this like it's the Super Bowl.
No.
New England has looked atrocious. Brady has been missing wide receivers week in and week out on short and long passes. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's got a new wide receiver core, this and that. Gronkowski's been out. But it's not the fact that he has no communication with them. They're not running routes. Brady's just flat out missing some of these wide receivers. Yep. And they don't have a real good defense. Vince Wilfork's out. Their big guy in the middle. I don't see any way that Denver loses this game.
I think Denver, I agree with you 100% on that. Everything you just said, Denver wins this game.
Nope.
San Francisco at Washington. San Francisco is coming off of a tough loss against New Orleans. Washington is just god-awful.
Yeah, they're bad. I think Shanahan might be on the hot seat this year.
Really?
Honestly.
That's an interesting take on it. I can't disagree with you. That's
from a team that was, proposed supposed to win the East or, at least contend for a playoff spot. RG3 coming off that Achilles. I don't think it's right for Shanahan, but I think Shanahan's going to be on the hot seat.
Okay, if Shanahan's on the hot seat, is Mike Smith on the hot seat?
Absolutely not. No way.
Okay.
Nope. And anybody who says Mike Smith is on the hot seat is a complete idiot.
I'm taking San Francisco on the road.
I'm taking San Francisco on the road as well.
That's it for our Week 12 picks. Be sure to check back. We'll be able to comment on our Facebook profile.
Yep.
We now actually have a subreddit.
We do. You
want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's reddit.com/r/sportsclubnfl.
Be sure to check that up. We will post everything on there. If you're not on Facebook, you can check it out on Reddit.
Mm-hmm. And we have our videos. We have our weekly videos linked there, and we also have our blogs that Billy and I try to do, 1 or 2 blogs a week just about on certain things. I have a blog this week about the job that Andy Reid is doing out in Kansas City.
Okay.
Hopefully it should be posted there tomorrow or Thursday. So any Kansas City fans out there, read up on it.
Sounds good. For Bryce, I'm Billy. Thanks, guys, for watching.